Thank Sandy. Can you hear me? Can you?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. It's something showing up on my screen that I'm leaving the Zoom meeting. Okay. My name is Teresa Mae White Quills-Knife. My parents are the late Olive Bakaki and Eugene White Quills. My grandparents, I come from a large extended family. White Quills, Takes the Gun Strong, Crazy Bull, Crop-Haired Wolf, Small Face, Creighton, Tail Feathers. And nukto chitapi, mamo iksi ki akepuka iksi ki nichitum putstaki iksi. So my education is from the Mount Royal and University of Saskatchewan in the areas of human resource management, healthcare management, and I also have a background in information and program management. My computer keeps freezing up on me here. So my experience, I've worked on and off reserve. I've worked with Blood Tribe Health in all sectors of health for about 25 years. Then I did some consultant work on reserve and in other reserves. I've worked with the Calgary Health Region. I worked with the U of A, their Center for Injury Control and Research. I've also worked with the Alberta Transportation and currently with Heart and Stroke in a national role. So we talk about our experience besides the work that we do. I've sat on various boards. I've sat on Blood Tribe Lands Tribunal. I've sat on with Done Women's Shelter. I've also worked, I keep saying work, sorry. I've sat on the Kaina Healing Lodge, the Blood Tribe Health Board, PAC with Kaina Board of Education. And I've worked on or sat on local and provincial and national police governance board with our Blood Tribe as the chair for Blood Tribe Police Commission with the Alberta, and I was the first First Nation member to ever be appointed on the Canadian Association of Police Governance, where at that level I was able to lobby and advocate on behalf of missing and murdered Indigenous women, which is a really big issue throughout the country, and also for community policing. So an katsitu do aksinoksa pi. Agste kakte sa po ko pa tsitsanok manistoka kutumotspi. Chakto nohkichi agste suka piwachich. We're at a crossroads where we stay at status quo or change. So change starts from leadership. We start looking at ourselves as leaders. We look at what are the needs of our people. So in terms of that, we look at accountability. So aksokapi akitumatapuh kita kutup manista watach to be our tribal operations of our tribal system. We need to look at how do we do change in that area to be transparent. We look at evaluating what's existing in terms of reviews, financial reviews. How can we make change that would show our people that we're governing ourselves? How do we monitor what are the monitors, the checks and balances to show that evidence that we are doing things? Also looking at that, there are times where people, I guess, have complaints about leadership. So we should be establishing an independent complaints process that will have a strong focus on bullying and lateral violence. So lateral violence, all that is still really prominent in our community, and sometimes starts from, is that leadership and filters down. We also need to look at establishing better communication systems for consulting and sharing information with on and off reserve members. When we're not hearing anything from leadership, we start making assumptions and speculations, gossiping about things. It's always good to hear it from the source rather than we use. And that's really important because that hasn't been happening. Some of the things some of our previous speakers spoke on, those are some of the things that we should be sharing all the time, not during election time. Also, we need to be inclusive of our members, programs for off-reserve members. They're part of our community. We need to look at how we could work with them to develop programs off-reserve. We also need to be looking at programs for our vulnerable population, which are people with disabilities, our elders, our children and youth, people with addictions, and our homeless population. We also need to have equal opportunities and treatment of how we acquire jobs, how we work in our own departments, and free from nepotism, conflicts, and instead of being self-serving and just only doing things for family or based on status in the community. We also have to allow for truth and reconciliation in our community, where trauma continues all the time. We need to stop normalizing those behaviors and actions that are causing harm to each other, right? And also going a step further is one of the biggest things that is happening, and previous speakers spoke on that, was addictions. So we could have a whole continuum of care to address some of our addictions, but we need to really look at what are the root problems of our addictions. How can we help people be able to voice what is happening with them? And how can we not pass judgment or have that stigma, but help them through that recovery? But further to that, we also need to look at providing support systems for our families that are impacted. So we have families that are impacted by that person that's addicted in their family, and they're still they're suffering along with that individual. That's happening a lot in our communities, and that's an area that's forgotten. And there's so much loss and grief that everyone's going through. We also need to look at research. Babies born with born addicted, if there's long-term effects from the drugs, if it's going to be impacting the family, our health and education system. Is there anything that we need to start working, putting funding into developing programs to support the individuals? We also need to start helping our members, recognizing that there's small businesses, there's people, entrepreneurs. We need to start supporting our own people to succeed. Their success is our success. We need to be creative. We need to look at the ideas, initiatives that are there to create employment and start supporting each other instead of looking at things from outside, from, not be to be setting up programs for us where we should be the ones that are working in our community. And we also need to look at networking, establishing maybe partnerships with outside sources where we could create employment for our people. We need to also be looking at evaluating the housing criteria that we currently have in place, doing an evaluation of the services there. We need to perhaps look at considering hiring researchers for land disputes that would go right into looking at the historical backgrounds of the individuals that are in dispute. I got my warning here. So just to end off, I know I spoke quickly through my stuff. It's online. But again, I would like to thank Sandy, and her daughter for the hard work they did in putting this Zoom forum together for all of us. Thank you. Anne.